Welcome to the series on developing your yoga practice, and today we're going to introduce standing poses with Uttitha Trikonasana or triangle pose. So standing poses are really great to energize the body, lifting the arches, energizing the legs, building strength and stamina and flexibility to the body. So they're a great pose to incorporate at least a few days a month practice your standing poses. So here we go with Trikonasana. Okay, so starting Trikonasana, I'll have you do a few things, right? These are the very first beginner steps in starting this pose. So come up and sit in this Uttitha Trikonasana pose without any support underneath your hips, and measure where your knees are. If the knees are like this, above the hips, then just note that. But if you can bring the knees down all the way to the mat, then just note that too. Second, we're gonna find out how much to bring the legs apart in this pose. So, grab 2 blocks and sit here in Dandasana. So the distance between the legs is a whole leg plus a foot. Okay, so I stand here. I'm going to put a block right at this hip bone area and a block at my heel. Okay. So now that I have this block there, I go ahead and I add a foot length to my heel and I put the block there. Okay, so 1 leg plus a foot. Okay, now I'm going to stand up and show you how to set up for the pose. So you can tape the middle of your mat, or you can grab a pen and make a line there for yourself. So remember how we talked about in the beginning if the knees were coming up in Uttitha Trikonasana or not. So if they were coming, if in this pose the knees are coming up like this, we're going to have an alignment of heel to heel. Okay, so what that means is I'm going to stand here on my first check, my first and second. So here is the width, how far apart I have the legs, and I always start with both feet facing forward. And if you can see here on the video, I have both heels on the line. Okay, this is because my flexibility with Uttitha Trikonasana was not quite there. Okay, and then I turn the right foot forward. Okay, and heel is aligned with heel. And so here I can stand and prepare to go into my pose. Now, if my knees do reach the floor in this Uttitha Trikonasana pose, right? If I sit here and I can bring the knees easily to the floor, both, then I would have an arch to heel alignment. So what that looks like is I would have my left foot with the arch, with this strap going right underneath my arch, and my heel here, right? So then I go ahead and I turn my right foot forward, and the heel is connecting to the arch. So the heel is at the strap, arch is at the strap. This is if I have a very open hip, okay? And then I can go down into my pose from here. Okay, so that is width of the feet and alignment of the feet. Okay, and these are good suggestions to follow. However, if you can't bring the legs that far wide, you can shorten them a little bit. The other thing that we're going to look at in this pose is tucking and untucking. So I'll show you the difference between a tucked pelvis and untucked. So if I lay down here and I have my feet on the ground, I'm able to tuck my pelvis. So rotate the pelvis around the head of the femur in a way where the pubic symphysis comes up and these hip bones come down towards the mat. So that's tucking. Usually I have external rotation of my legs in order to tuck, or I can internally rotate my thighs and untuck the pelvis, which gives me a back bend here, right? So internal rotation, back bend, untuck. Tucking, external rotation. Okay, so with these basics down, I'm going to bring my feet to my stance, right? The stance that I predetermined here. I'm going to breathe here, so take a couple breaths here and start tucking the pelvis and externally rotating the head of the femur here. So externally rotate the femur, lift the chest, and turn the right foot out. And then I'm going to give a little bit of an angle to my left foot. So a little bit, not too much, but maybe a little bit. All right, so here, externally rotate the top of the femur here, tuck the pelvis. With that, if I have length in the quad, it's going to allow me to tuck. If I don't have length in the quad, it's going to be a lot harder. So I just come down as far as I can. All right, so if this is too tight, what I can do is I can use a chair. So I'm going to come out of my pose, right? I come out of the pose by turning both feet, so both feet are facing forward, and then jumping or coming back to Tadasana. So here we go. I grab my chair. Okay. And I put the chair on the outside of my leg. I bring the legs back into my open stance. I turn the right foot forward. I give a little bit of an angle to the left foot. I rotate these out, or I have the thought of rotating them out. And I untuck and tuck. So I want to keep this tucked. And I come down here, bring the arms out, and I can leave my left arm in my hip, and I use the chair. And here I do Trikonasana. And then I can come down a little bit further, right? Really energizing the feet, lifting the arches, spreading the toes, spreading the weight of the four points of the foot onto the ground, pressing the back edge of my back foot into the mat, and really using the chair here. And then I inhale, exhale when I inhale to come up, and turn the feet out, and come back to center. Stand and rest in Tadasana. Lift the chest. And there you have it. That's the beginning of Trikonasana. And Trikonasana is a pose where you can do so many things and you can learn so many different actions in just this one pose. So it's a great place to start, to just practice it with a chair and slowly learn how to tuck, rotate the legs out, keep the lift of the chest, and really energize the feet so that there isn't any collapse of the arches with the feet. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it and that you can practice Trikonasana. If you like the video, please like it. And if you want to, subscribe so you can get news on other videos that I try to post a couple times a week or daily. Okay, thank you so much.